And we're back. Welcome to another episode of the Blacktop podcast. We just got off our own little all-star break, so we're excited to talk about ball. Now, I got my boys with me. How y'all doing?
Good, DJ. I'm back from the All Star break, our own little All Star break. Obviously, a lot of shit happened during during that time, like the actual All Star weekend we didn't get to talk about. But I'm sure we're gonna get to chop it up during this episode. What's going on, Chin? Chin be frozen.
Oh, Chin, if you're saying stuff, you're frozen right now. Oh,
Doing
Oh,
all
he's
right.
back. Oh,
Um,
there you go.
yeah, I mean basketball. I'm frozen.
I think you're good now. Oh wait, it was
Oh,
like it
it's
was like
like in
freezing
and
for a
out.
oh, my
second.
bad.
Oh, it's all good. It's all good. Yeah, we're one take Drake out here,
One
yo.
take, yo.
One take.
Oh, we're
Just
good now.
keep it
We're good
going.
now.
All right, my bad, my bad. I don't know what's going on with my Wi-Fi, but yeah, I'm doing all right. Basketball has obviously been in an interesting place right now. Like, I think there is a lot of different takes to be shared, and I don't at this point I don't think anything's like a bad take. But yeah,
Solid, solid. So, what we gonna do? We're gonna do our little intro spiel. We got our takes, as well as how we're feeling about our respective teams post deadline. After that, we're going to talk about the playoff picture. It's crazy. There's less than 2 months left in the regular season. It's playoff time, baby. I'm excited. And from there, the whole genesis of why I started this podcast. We got the Blacktop Showdown. We got a lot to talk about. Let's get right into it. So, for our takes, I guess I'll start. So, I'm going to give another homer one here. This one's been very close to my heart for the last little bit. It is that I believe that the Most Improved Player award will slash should be renamed the Giannis Antetokounmpo Award once he retires. I think just the notoriety and just the whole genesis of when you hear that name definitely gives rings of most improved. I mean, think about it. In his own book, nobody really thought Giannis was going to break out into be an MVP. That's why they drafted Jabari Parker second. You know what I'm saying? Could have had Joel Embiid, but I digress. So, I do believe that the Giannis Antetokounmpo Award will happen one day. Because, I mean, I think it's all considering that, you know, God rest his soul. The Kobe Bryant Award is a thing now. I think we live in a time where, you know, basketball is just moving so forward and there's so many different guys that are making their impact that, it's time to switch up some of the names here and there. But yeah, what y'all think?
I don't know. You know what? You kind of sold me on the idea at the end because it's like Giannis as the most improved player, like the award named after him, actually makes a lot of sense. Because dude, look at how he's blossomed. Right, he came from a project kid, 19-year-old skinny little twig into the dominant force that he is. And like you mentioned, the Kobe Bryant All Star Award, I think it makes sense to like call the different awards after a certain player who's dominated that or like who's been notoriously known as that player for such a long time. Like I wouldn't be opposed to the six man award being called the Jamal Crawford Award. You know what I mean? Like that's such a great idea. The MVP one, that's a tough one because like there has been so many great players. Like you could give it to LeBron. Obviously, you could give it to Mike. I mean, those are the two guys that stand out in terms of the award. The Defensive Player of the Year award. I mean, that could go to like three or four different guys from like Gary Payton to like um, Dwight
Rudy
Howard who won it.
Gobert.
Like Rudy Go. How many times has he won it? Twice, right? Three
No,
times.
he got
No,
three. I think one
yeah, he's
more than he ties the record.
That's what I'm saying. Like you could very much give it to a guy because like he's dominated that category for so long, more than anybody else. So I'm pretty sold on the idea, actually.
Oh yeah, I agree. I think it kind of brings like a humanistic feel to the NBA at the end of the day, just because obviously these terms are like I understand from like I mean not to go on a ramble, but from a marketing standpoint, and I understand why it's called a MVP award and not like the Michael Jordan award because for some reason there's some person out there under a rock that doesn't know who Michael Jordan is maybe. Um, but yeah, I mean like it kind of brings like an homage and reason as to why like the NBA kind of still exists, and it's because of these people. kind of paving the way in these certain sections. Like, I think, like how Ruben mentioned, like the Jamal Crawford Award. That sounds fucking good. Like, I think I'd be more inclined to like kind of follow those races a little bit more. Like if I knew it was the Jamal Crawford Award.
No doubt. And I will say, I think Lou Williams might deserve some potential. There's a potential there to have that be like,
Yeah,
you know, like, can you imagine the Lemon Pepper Lou Award? Whoo!
Yeah,
that,
that's
that
actually probably
that's a debate on its own for sure.
True, true. But yeah, that was my take. All right. Do any of y'all want to spearhead this next one, or should I do like
Um,
some PowerPoint? Oh, go ahead,
I,
Christian.
I can share my take. I think my take for the day is that um, I mean maybe it's not a hot take. Some to some I think it is, but I think DeMar DeRozan is like borderline like top two for MVP race right now. Um, and I think that comes in consideration of like how far the Bulls have come, like in terms of like from last season, obviously, to now, and how he has literally come onto the team and like elevated the team to the next level. Like I know Vucevic came in last season or like mid last season, and then they've obviously brought in Lonzo Ball and Alex Caruso. But that being said, I think DeMar DeRozan, everyone's obviously seen his numbers and how he's breaking the record of Wilt Chamberlain for most 35 plus point games over 50%. Like that's unreal numbers. And I'm pretty sure he's still keeping the streak going right now. Um,
Oh no, no, no. I think it ended last game.
yeah.
Yeah.
In the last game. Okay. But regardless, I think like I don't know. Like obviously everyone has like Jokic, Giannis, and Embiid up there because they fill the stats. But I think in terms of influential players, like he is having like I think the most influential season of all the MVP candidates right now. Um, so I think he's top two. That's kind of my opinion though for the day.
that's a pretty good take. You know what, that conversation's been had throughout all of the media. Like DeRozan being an MVP candidate, for sure he deserves to be in the conversation. Does he deserve number one? There's very much a case that could be made. Like the streak, the fact that the whole Bulls roster has been unhealthy since the beginning of the year, right? Like they've been unhealthy. Like Patrick Williams was supposed to be a huge part of the rotation, and he was going to be that guy that he was going to be the OG Ananobi of that 2019 Raptors team, right? Or that 2020 Raptors team. It's supposed to be the defensive glue guy, who can, defend all different positions because of the fact that DeMar, Levine, and Vucevic are negative defenders, and he was supposed to be the guy that put that together. Correct me if I'm mistaken. The Bulls are a positive defensive team. They've been missing a lot of their best players, the best defensive guys, and DeRozan is carrying this team, and he's having the best season of his career. I mean, it's and they're number one in the East. So it's like there's obviously a conversation that has to be made. For me, I think Joel is going to run away with it because I don't think we've ever seen as dominant a season like this since. I mean, obviously, like Giannis had a pretty good damn MVP season, but Joel's having a hell of a year. He's having a hell of a year, and we also underrate how good Jokic is just because he's not the sexy player. And I think Jokic is probably still my number two at the current moment because of how ridiculous that team is. Because and considering their injuries, like Jamal Murray and MPJ have not played. I mean, MPJ's been injured since November, and he's putting up. He's like going to be the first player to potentially average like what 25, 14, and 7 or something. I mean, he's averaging some crazy numbers, and there was a stat that I saw. I mean, just insane. So, like, as a Raptors fan, obviously, I would love for DeMar to win the MVP and finally get his flowers. Just sucks that it's coming during the time that he's a Chicago Bull and not in Canada. But you know what I mean. I like that take though. I like that take. I can see why.
Yeah. And I mean, like, it's obviously, I think it's one of those seasons too where, like, there are so many players that are playing at, like, a MVP level. Like, obviously, there's been numerous seasons like this where you see, like, tons of players contending for it. But like this year, the people who are in the top MVP race are like putting up ridiculous like stats and like just like doing different things and like breaking different records. That's hard to say who's really up there. But I definitely agree. Like Embiid and Jokic, like I've seen a lot of people have this take too that they're the best players in the league right now. And
Yeah,
I also agree with that sentiment at the same time.
I have to give it to DJ. Sorry to bump in here, DJ. Like I'll speak on your behalf. Giannis deserves to be in the conversation too. Like Giannis is having a hell of a year. John Morant's having a hell of a year. Like Chris Paul could easily be in that conversation, and if it wasn't for the injury now. But like it's a really good year for that award, and I feel like it's because of the fact that there's such a balance and parity throughout the league now that it's like all these guys can easily be in the conversation.
Yeah, shoot, no doubt. I mean, I already know who I want to win, but I will say if there's anybody I would want Giannis to lose it to, DeMar DeRozan is that guy. I mean, DeMar DeRozan, I think, is not even undoubtedly, he's the most unappreciated player in this league. I feel because he's went from who a lot of people and a lot of GMs said was the worst acquisition of the trade deadline, or not the
Mm-hmm.
trade deadline of the offseason, to now he's undoubtedly a top player at his position. And I think the main thing for his case, I feel, is that they're the top. He's the top seed out of all like these guys we're naming. They're technically second right now, but yeah, I mean, I love Jokic. I love his case for it, considering that he's carried a squad of, few starters here and there, but mostly like their role players. But I think just them being sixth right now, and I don't think there's that much room for them to climb unless MPJ like comes back smoking hot. So I will say, if anybody go win it over Giannis, I wanted it to be DeMar. I mean, him and Embiid, or Giannis and Embiid, are putting up similar numbers, and they're like it's like the two-headed race for the scoring title right now. But yeah, I mean, I love Embiid and all, but you know, Giannis got that ring. Giannis got two MVPs. Giannis has a DPOY, and in my opinion, he's significantly better on the defense compared to Joel. But again, if there's any guy I'd want my guy to lose to, it'd be Compton. And I will say, as sad as it is for him to not win it as on Team Canada, Christian and I got ties to Chicago. We got a lot of family there. I will say, if he wins, I'm not gonna hop on a flight, but if I had the money to, I'm hopping on a flight. I'll be like, yo, can I stay for a bit? Because there's gonna be a celebration. Because if you think about it, he's not really a two guard anymore, but he did come into the league as a two. In my opinion, aside from Zach LaVine, he's the best. Actually, not even. Actually, let me switch that. He is the best mid-range scorer since Michael Jordan on that team, and even you could even argue for like overall with the league, because DeMar DeRozan is a dude that I think the main reason why everybody was saying he's buns is the fact that he can't shoot threes, but he knows that that's not his game. And even then, I think just the sheer fact that he broke a record that it was Wilt Chamberlain, who is this guy that puts up 2K level numbers, but did it in real life. I think that's crazy. And I think that's something that definitely has to be a part of the conversation. But shoot, yeah, I agree. I think the main thing is that he doesn't do enough of the other stuff to, I think, that'll lead to him getting the votes. But I think when it comes to the impact you've made, the culture that you've somewhat helped change, DeMar DeRozan's definitely, he's top two, and he's not two if you feel me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure. I want to add to that hot take in a sense. I feel like Demar is having a better individual season than Derrick Rose's MVP year. Because if you look at that year, Derrick Rose was incredible that year. He was absolutely incredible that year. But LeBron easily could have won that MVP. People just didn't give it to him because of voter fatigue. And that's what's going to happen to a guy like Giannis, and that's what's going to happen to a guy like Jokic. Dude, LeBron could have won the MVP all the years he was in Cleveland, too. I mean, LeBron could very well have 10 MVPs right now. But there is such thing as voter fatigue. Everybody wants a new player, a new story. And if you look at what DeMar is doing with an unhealthy roster, I mean, it's just mind-boggling because when you were talking about San Antonio, he wasn't able to be that kind of guy that shifted or like impacted winning. And then when it was in Toronto, a lot of the winning was always, yeah, okay, DeMar and Lowry, but this team was predicated. Everybody was so focused on the fact that this team can't do anything without Lowry, and it was Lowry's team. And you kind of saw that when Kawhi left, and you obviously saw that when DeMar was out at times. But like I think he's having a better single season than Derrick Rose's MVP year. That's just my opinion. In my humble opinion, Charles Barkley.
I agree.
Oh, man, that's true.
Yeah, I think like
That's true.
as amazing as Derrick Rose's MVP season is, and as much as that'll forever be a part of NBA lore, I agree. Like, as I'm not saying LeBron's my GOAT, but I think the main reason people don't give him his flowers is because it's always the thing to hate LeBron because he's always proven the doubters wrong. I mean, this is a dude who, like, as soon as he entered high school, was projected to be the greatest thing since sliced bread. And
Yeah.
he's fulfilled everything that's ever been asked of him, fulfilled everything that's ever been expected of him. He's never been a part of like a major scandal, except maybe Delonte West, but you know what I'm saying? No, but yeah, I agree. LeBron could definitely have way more MVPs, but I think that's the reason why low key it might be between Joel and DeMar because those are the two fresh new guys to it. But I mean, in my opinion, I think if Joel was healthy last year, I think he would have won it because of the tear he was on. That was insane.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a solid take, man. He'll definitely get votes, but I just think again the fact that he's only really a bucket and isn't able to facilitate like he can, but not to the level that a guy like Jokic is doing, a Giannis, and you know what I'm saying. But yeah, shoot, you got anything left to add, Chin, or should we send this to Ruben?
No, that's pretty much it. Ruben, what's your take for the day?
Mine is more of a prediction, and but I think Memphis is gonna finish with the number one seed in the West. Excuse me. So I'm gonna look at the record here. The Phoenix Suns are 49-12. The Golden State Warriors are 43-19, and the Grizzlies are 43-20. And excuse me if you hear the train in the background. It's coming pretty soon. You hear this train right here?
Oh no, you're good.
Am I good? Wait, well, interrupt me if you guys hear it in the background.
Yeah.
So the Grizzlies are 7 games behind the Phoenix Suns for the number one spot, right? They're only a half a game behind Golden State.
Okay. But uh, I'm not gonna lie though, Ruben. I agree. I will say. I'm gonna. We just feeling this shit.
This train is taking valuable time away from us.
Yeah, don't that fucking train know that we're recording the Blacktop podcast.
Get that thing out of here, man. Yeah, sorry, I left my window open. My room is hotter than a thing. But I have the Grizzlies finishing number one in the West. So there's 19 games left for them this season. I think there's roughly about. I think the Phoenix Suns actually have less games left to go, and the Warriors have 1 game less. Both Phoenix and Golden State are on 2-game losing streaks. They both without key players that have been a huge impact to where their records are currently sitting. Right, Chris Paul is going to be out for the remainder of the season until the playoffs. Golden State, they're missing Draymond. He's out with a herniated disc, and his timeline is kind of all over the place. Well, the Grizzlies have just won 2 in a row. John Morant's coming off a 52 freaking performance. 52-point freaking performance. And they're healthy. And they're going to get Dylan Brooks back pretty soon in the fold. The way they're playing and health being a huge reason why I think this is going to be the case, I think Memphis will finish with the number one seed. Just the way that they're playing. I mean, what do you say, like, about any NBA champion? I mean, kind of everything has to fall right into place with a little bit of luck. Right now, they have the luck all on their side, barring obviously any injuries that happen to Memphis for the rest of the year until the postseason, I wouldn't be surprised, or like I will actually go on a limb and say I'm 80% confident that the Grizzlies are going to finish with the number one seed. Just considering their momentum right now, and the other two teams are just struggling at the current moment. I don't know what you guys think.
Oh,
I mean, I like don't disagree with the opinion completely because I definitely see how they're kind of like pulling momentum as a team, and it's really easy to forget that like at the end of the day, like their star player is a third year star. Like he like they're really pulling it together as a team. I think compared to every team in the NBA right now, like they are the most cohesive unit, without question. I think the only thing is like I could see them definitely finishing at the 2 seed considering how Golden State is at right now. I just looking at this before we actually hopped on call, but um, it does say like in terms of like the cumulative like opponent records, like that Phoenix has the third easiest schedule to finish the year. Um, that being said, they are like obviously they have holes right now with it's Chris Paul, right? That is out. So um it's hard to say, like even with an easy schedule, like Chris Paul is like the unit of the Phoenix Suns. So I see the take happening for sure. I think if I were to give it a percentage though, it's more like 40-60 for me. 40 it does happen. But I don't disagree with the take for sure.
yeah, for me, I think I can see it happening. Uh, I just think, yeah, I mean, I'm a Bucks fan. I mean, Ruben's a Raptors fan. We all know about the fact that you got to be lucky to win a chip. That's undoubtedly like a fact. But yeah, I mean, the Grizzlies. I mean, I know I said they're like this year's Hawks, but I think, I mean, with the run they're really on, they're in a league of their own. I think there's nobody except Memphis fans that could have predicted that they'd be the third seed at this point. And I think with, again, all the factors Ruben raised up with health, all the chips, they've got pocket aces. Everybody else is playing with like, lower pairs here and there. Like they got good hands, but the pocket rockets, that's that shit right there. But shoot, I mean, John Moran's playing at an MVP level. He had back-to-back career highs. I think the game before the 52 piece, he had, I think, 46. And that was a new career high. But he's just playing at a level that, in my opinion, I think I don't. A lot of people will go flame me for this, but I think he's playing better than MVP Derrick Rose in a sense, and I think that the way that this team is constructed, because I mean, Desmond Bane's a dude who's in the debate for MIP. Zaire Williams, I think, is really starting to come into his own. Dylan Brooks is one of the best defenders in the league, in my opinion, at the wing position.
It's a deep ass team.
Yeah, Brandon Clark. He's got
team.
one of the top PRs in the entire league, and he doesn't even get that much play time. But that's our Vancouver boy. So
Jaren Jackson Jr.
Oh yeah, Trey Jack.
The dude would have been the dude if it wasn't for the fact that there were so little All Star spots. Jaren Jackson definitely deserves.
Oh, he definitely. Yeah, no doubt.
And they have Steven Adams, who is obviously one of the best vets, one of the best big men in the league in terms of what he does in his role. I mean, that's a 10 deep team. And John Morant, not really a hot take, but he's a DeMar DeRozan of the West.
No doubt.
Like, he's completely changed the culture of that Grizzlies franchise. He's playing in a small market team. The dude's embraced it completely, and he's a marketable star. Like, all of those factors put together, like, this is... I mean, you said Hawks. I think they're very much, like, the dark horse contender to win the title this year.
Yeah, if they end up in the finals, I wouldn't be super surprised. But shoot, man. This is just more ammunition for us as Vancouverites, even though we're not really from Vancouver, as we always say. If this team was in Vancouver, whew! I know we love all our teams, but man, I'm buying fucking season tickets. But yeah, man, I think they have all the metal. They have all the characteristics of a young team that is really hungry against a bunch of teams who are, starting to age out. Because I mean, as amazing as Steph Curry is, he's on the wrong side of 30. As amazing as Chris Paul is, He's on the wrong side of 30. And I think that the one thing that experience can't like triumph is that youth. And I think that them coming into the playoffs, kind of wide eyed. I mean, they had a taste last year with the Utah series, and now they're like the way they're playing right now. It's like you guys know who DK Metcalf is? The super
Yeah.
big wide receiver. He's like 6'4", 230. He runs a 4.3. And there was like a meme where it was like him as like a regular shirt. It's like, oh, I'll have her home by 9. And then it's him with who literally looks like he could compete in Mr. Olympia, but he runs 4.3. It's like she calls me daddy too. I think that's literally the energy the Grizzlies are playing with right now.
Yeah.
But yeah,
No, yeah, I definitely could see them going all the way, and I don't think anyone would be surprised about that. Like, I think the fact that they've had that taste of the playoff like run. I think this team is more reminiscent of that like MVP year Derrick Rose team than anything. Like, not even like like Atlanta Hawks anymore, because I think the thing about the Hawks last year is that they kind of came in underrated, but this team I think is now not like underrated, but they're like severely underrated. Like they are like at a point where they're like good enough to like kind of compete. And I definitely agree. Like the youth on their team, like can definitely outplay like a lot of the like tougher teams like in their conference. And I mean, we've seen what age does to the Lakers this season. So like, I think youth is the new move in the NBA right now. To be honest.
no doubt, no doubt. Those were all super solid takes. They're nice variety, and I like that. So, how are we feeling about our teams, y'all? I think let's go in the order of seeding right now. So, at the 7th spot, we got the Raptors. Ruben, how you feeling about your boys post deadline, post All Star break?
Yeah, I mean, I was pissed at first considering there's a need for shooting, there was a need for a center, and there was a need for a guard to alleviate the stress of Fred VanVleet's minutes. We didn't get none of that. We ain't getting none of that. We got Thaddeus Young. We got 10 dudes on this roster that are 6'9" that can do all the same things. Now, I've been proven wrong a little bit because Thad Young's been a really nice addition for the team, and he actually kind of fits what they're trying to do both on both ends of the floor. So I'm pretty happy about his acquisition. So I mean, I'm pretty happy where they're at. They just copped 2 wins against the lowly Nets without Fred and without OG in the lineup. So I mean, granted, the Nets are also without Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving in the lineup. So it's a bit of a minus out here, and I take the Raptors role players and the Raptors guys. I mean, they're pretty much top heavy, and they still have Pascal Siakam, who, in my eyes, an All Star this year. Um, so I like what they did, and I think the best acquisition was the non-acquisition, but just the reintroduction of Malachi Flynn in these last 2 games. I mean, Malachi Flynn to end off last season when the trade deadline passed, he was given a lot of reins. Kyle sat out a lot of games. Fred finished the game sitting on the bench, and Flynn showed that he was an NBA prospect. These last 2 games, the dude's been having trouble all season long finding time with Nick Nurse. He's been in Nick Nurse's doghouse, and like many Raptors fans know, Nick Nurse is pretty stubborn when it comes to players and who he plays and who he opts to sit for a while. And there's a good chance he gets stuck in the doghouse. And Fred goes down, and an opportunity opens, and Malachi Flynn comes out and performs. So now he's gotten himself into a level where it looks like when Fred is back, you have an adequate guard who can alleviate time for about 15 to 18 minutes a game, who can score the ball, who can make plays, and obviously defend. Obviously not to the level that Fred does, but I mean, if you can get that adequate production and that impact on the defensive end, I mean, the best acquisition sometimes is just development within your own team. And I think that's why this team also opted not to make those many acquisitions because they really believe in this young core group of guys. The oldest guy on this roster is Thad Young. If you take Thad Young off this roster, I think the Raptors have, if I'm not mistaken, the youngest roster in the league, just because of the averages. So I mean, this team's currently sitting seventh. They just beat the Brooklyn Nets, meaning they're now 3 games behind. Brooklyn's now 3 games behind Toronto. Toronto's about a game and a half behind Boston, and I'm liking their schedule. I'm liking the way that it's going to finish out for them, and the fact that you have Thad Young, who's a veteran, who's actually going to play for this team, and then you add in the guy like Malachi Flynn, who can actually present some minutes and save time for Fred. I'm happy about it. And again, I think we have to temper expectations this year because it's supposed to be a development year, and I think they just accelerated their growth. No one expected them to be a playoff team, so I'm pretty happy. My tune changed a little bit after All Star Weekend. What about you guys? How about your teams? I think Boston. We're chasing Boston right now. We're chasing Boston, Chin.
Yeah, I mean, okay. For those maybe listening for the first time, Boston is my team based on my default love for Jason Tatum. Um, I will say, putting this out there, I'm not going to talk about them right now, but I've been following Golden State for an extensive amount of time since like 2011. So I could argue they're my team, but I don't like talking like I'm a Golden State fan because everyone's a Golden State fan, let's face it. Anyways,
Hey man, put some respect on my mom, bro.
yo,
my
no,
mom, my mom fucking loves Golden State.
I love Golden State too. I really
No,
do.
I do
I
too.
think it's just that it's hard to be a fan of them, because
Yeah,
everyone's
true,
gonna
true,
be like,
true.
"Oh, you a dick rider, huh?" So yeah, I'd rather talk about my boys, the Celtics. Honestly, they're doing really good. I mean, like I wouldn't say they're in a place where like they made it out the trenches completely. Like they definitely showed up in the second half of the season. Now that we're kind of in the last stretch of the regular season, I think the kind of craziest thing about them right now is that they have like the second highest defensive rating in the NBA. I don't think that's like a huge like surprise, but I also think it's like they're kind of a team where you would expect them to be a little more balanced. Like they have top defenders on their team, like they have Marcus Smart, they have Robert Williams, Al Horford has been learning to play his role again a lot more, really as a kind of like interior defender. You put up 4 blocks today, have him on my fantasy, so that was good. Um, but I still kind of feel like indifferent about like kind of where they stand. Like they have a young team. I wouldn't say they have like their championship core yet. And it's like for me, I mean, this is just how I like personally feel, but I think it's a little disappointing that they have like kind of come up and down with the two J's, but they haven't found a solution. Um, so I'm interested to see where like the rest of the season goes for them. I think they like could definitely be an underdog if they can pick up their offensive rating a little bit. But I think it's just because like I think that that offensive rating is so low is because the two J's just still don't necessarily mesh that well on the floor. Um, so we'll have to see how that goes. But defensively, I think they kind of show up as a dark horse, I think, if they can kind of figure out that offense. And it might be a good time for, I mean, it's not good that a player gets injured, but to see Jaylen Brown go down, it'll be interesting to see how they actually kind of fix up their game. Because they did still end up winning the game, I believe, tonight. Was that the game? Against the Hawks. And the Hawks have, I believe, the number one offense in the league right now. So they definitely showed up defensively. Um, Actually, no, they have the number two offense. Anyways, yeah, I think they're in an interesting position where maybe Jason Tatum can really come to form and bring them somewhere. But yeah, that I guess that's my take. A few different takes there. Anyways, let's hear about the Bucks.
Man, it's hard out here, man. Like, I love the construction of this team. I think Serge was a super solid pickup. I think Javon Carter is better than what Goran Dragic is right now. Since, granted, he's got the veteran and the all star, so he's got the resume for sure. But Javon Carter, I think, can be a super solid, guard that helps us down the stretch here, considering that, George Hill hasn't played in the last little bit. And, I'm. There's so much to say, but I'm going to say it in one word: third quarter. the Bucks have been able to really, really pound teams away in the first half. I think you've seen that throughout the entire season. But it's like whenever it's third quarter time, what's supposed to be, the money making time, the clutch time, so you don't have to perform in the actual clutch time, you know what I'm saying? They've shown up short. I mean, the Nets game, that was hard to watch because let me pull it up here so I get the exact number. 43 points. That's how many points the Bucks gave up to a Nets team that did not have KD or Ben Simmons. Granted, Kyrie Irving was on a whole nother thing that night. But, yeah, I mean, I'm making it sound like I really care about the regular season, but at the same time, I kind of don't. For me, as long as the Bucks avoid the play-in, I'm cool. Because I feel now that they have that championship experience, now that they know, the whole grind of it, not saying that they're coasting, because they're definitely not, but I feel that you don't necessarily need that number one seed. You don't need that home court advantage once you're coming into this season as a defending champs. But, yeah, I mean, Chris Middleton's been in a bit of a slump. He's starting to pick it up, which is really good. Drew Holiday, though, I don't like that he's been passive these past few games. Granted, with the Hornets game that just happened the other day, showed up a little bit, but I think in order for the Bucks to really, not even that I don't believe that they'll repeat, but I think to just put the league back on notice. Because, I mean, Giannis is Giannis. Giannis is guaranteed 30, 10, and 5 every night. That's a fact at this point. But I think with how Chris Middleton's been playing, very streaky, that's a big reason why I think a lot of Bucks fans, not me anymore, a lot of us are always quick to say, like, man, we pay this dude a max. But the thing is that Chris Middleton and Drew Holiday, I think, are still the perfect players to pair with Giannis. And I just think that with all these new acquisitions, there's a lot of potential. Because, I mean, Serge undoubtedly was one of the premier defenders of his generation, in my opinion, the 2010s. Granted, with back surgery, those back shots, man. Sorry. The back shots, bro.
What the fuck? All right, next segment, bro.
No, let me finish my thing. But no, I love Serge. He been getting a little trigger happy for the three. I'm not gonna lie. He went like 1 for 5 this one game. I forgot what it was, but I will say the Javon Carter acquisition is something that I think would be super solid. I think Javon Carter is a dude that hasn't really gotten the proper run out of any of his situations. Not that this one's going to be any different considering the depth of our guard rotation, but I think considering, again, that George Hill hasn't played fucking seems like forever. I think it's been like a few weeks, probably a month if you include the All-Star break now. But George Hill is definitely going to be in the lineup come playoff time. But with Javon Carter, I think if he uses this time to really ramp up, God willing that, or God forbid that any of the boys go down on the Bucks team, but Javon Carter this is a dude who has written his name into the West Virginia history books. I mean, I saw a post of like a graphic, I think it was, yeah. And they were saying he's the best player in West Virginia history aside from Jerry West, who's the fucking logo. So I'm excited. I'm excited to see him really, again, start to get some more minutes here and there. I think that the main thing, I just want Brook Lopez back. He ain't even really got to do that much and shoot that much. I just think the presence of a guy that's 280 and 7 feet will make you always question yourself when you're driving to the paint, unless you're John Morant. But yeah, I think this whole season I've been kind of taken with a grain of salt, especially when we've been dominated by bigs. Because, I mean, I love Bobby Portis. He went off for 8 threes in the Brooklyn game, but he got 40 piece by Joel, man. I think that as much as the dog can carry you on the offensive end and the defensive end, you still got to play good defense at the end of the day. Granted, a lot of the shots Embiid were making were those are shots that out of any big man, Embiid is probably the only one that can make that. But yeah, back shots, Javon Carter, a healthy Bucks team. We're repeating this year, baby. But yeah, I got to fuck this whole segment.
Hey, yo.
But yeah,
Oh no.
I'm confident, but I just need them to kind of reignite that flame in other teams that these are the boys to beat. But shoot, that was our little intro spiel. Now, if you guys don't know what the Blacktop Showdown is, here's a little syllabus. When it comes to our love for basketball, as much as we can say, man, I remember I used to watch Kobe, I used to watch MJ, I used to watch Dr. J, even if you're like that level. But our very first memories for most of us when it comes to grabbing a ball is not in the gym. It's on the blacktop. It's in your local neighborhood park. The rim might be a little crooked. I know the one at mine is. And that double rim is always going to be the bane of our existences. But for a lot of people, myself included, pretty sure you boys can test this too. That's our first introduction to the game. I mean, we learn on the blacktop, we get smoked on the blacktop, and sometimes we smoke others on the blacktop. But basically, the NBA needs to do this. They need to do a one-on-one tournament in some type of format. But this is kind of like that. So I've selected guys. I got this little book here of a bunch of NBA player trading cards, and basically, we're gonna pick our dudes. This is all random, and we're gonna duke it out. We're gonna say one-on-one, who is winning. For example, if I say Chris Paul versus Donovan Mitchell, two guys who are undoubtedly elite, but you got to make the case for who's better. Now, we got tiers to this too, though. So, because the first time we did this, it was a little one-sided in the fact that Christian won because he had the center. But yeah, now we got what is it? The tiers. So we have 4 tiers. Tier 1 is the guys who are Hall of Famers, locks for all the Hall of Fame / probably Hall of Fame. Tier 2 is the multiple-time All-Stars. I think I have it as like 3+. Tier 3 is a one-time All-Star / elite at something. So, for example, Buddy Hield's in this tier. He's not an All-Star, but you can't deny the fact that he can shoot the ball. And then Tier 4 is role players. These are guys, there's no bums, but these are guys who are, jack of all trades, master of none kind of thing. And from that, we also have sections, just to prevent, again, if you got a 6-foot guard and a 7-foot center, obviously the center's winning. Even if the center's like Thon Maker and your guard is John Stockton. So, I got the order right here. So, Ruben, pick a number between 1 and 4.
3.
3. Ooh, okay. You have Jonathan Isaac. So if you want to bring up like his, maybe not his vac stance, but his basketball reference page, go right on ahead. Christian, 1 to 4, but not 3.
2.
2. Okay, this is gonna be a nice match. You got Rudy Gay.
Okay.
Alrighty. So since that there's 4, and I already know who's gonna pick, I'm gonna let these boys go first round. I'll be like the little judge here and there. And then from there, considering that there's 4, I'm calling it the 6th man. So with whoever wins this, you have the option to switch to this guy. But it's not forced. But all right, you boys ready? Let me share my screen for this timer thing.
So wait, who does Chin have again?
Chin has
I got
Rudy
Rudy.
Gay.
Okay, all right.
Okay.
Take a look at this.
You guys can see this, right?
Yeah.
Alrighty.
Who's in first?
All right. 1 is Christian, 2 is Ruben. All right, Christian, you're first. Your minute starts. Oh, also, sorry. There's 2 rounds. Round 1 is your, opening argument, say your stats, whatever you need to. Round 2 is your rebuttal. All right, Christian, you're ready.
Let's go.
All right, starting in 3, 2, 1, go.
All right. So what do I know about Rudy Gay based off of these basketball reference stats I'm looking at right now? So this guy is 6'8", 250 pounds. That is relatively heavy for a 6'8" guy. I mean, I don't know where I'm going here, but I think with that all in consideration, averaging 16.5 on his career with the like seasons in mind he has right now, where he's kind of just playing a bench role, that number could be significantly higher. He's had close to 20, average 20 points per game seasons like in a row. He is does have a true rebounding statistic of 5.8. He's been quite a consistent shooter, just averaging 45%.
10 seconds.
And I mean, like at the end of the day, like Jonathan Isaac is Jonathan Isaac, but he is only a defensive ended player, and I think on the blacktop, Rudy Gay's got the talent.
Okay, okay. Oh shoot. Okay, okay. All right, Ruben, representing for Jonathan Isaac. In three, two, one, go.
I'd like to preface this by saying Jonathan Isaac needs to get vaccinated. So, Jonathan Isaac is a plus defender, as he mentioned. He's a 6'11" wing player that can handle the basketball, can defend multiple positions, and he's also a career 33% shooter from the 3 point line. So, the guy can stretch the floor, he's got the length, he's got the ability to create off the dribble, and then he can defend if he loses the possession. I really like Jonathan Isaac's potential in this matchup, only because of the fact that while Rudy Gay has been known to have a pretty good bag, especially as a one-on-one player, if you look at his time in Memphis, where he was almost an all-star, I really like Jonathan Isaac's ability. If it were a game up to 7 on the blacktop, he's got the length, he's got the ability to defend him. And then on the offensive end, he's got the ability to create over top of him. You just got to take the guy with the bigger length, the ability to stretch the floor, etc., etc.
Okay, okay. All right. Christian, 30-second rebuttal. Oh, wait. Shoot, my
DJ.
bad. Yeah, my bad. Okay, Christian, 30-second rebuttal. Starting in three, two, one, go.
All right. So Ruben mentioned something about Jonathan Isaac stretching the floor, and I think that's kind of irrelevant to the fight right now because I think if we were talking about like 3 point shooting and like who can really make shots happen, I think Jonathan Isaac would not be able to create on the level that Rudy Gobert can, or not Rudy Gobert, Rudy Gay. Fuck. Uh, that being said, I think like if this were a game of like shot creating 1v1, I think Rudy Gay trumps him every day of the week.
All right. Ruben, your rebuttal. In three, two, one, go.
Yeah, it's hard to argue against Rudy Gay's offensive bag, but the thing is, on the defensive end, Jonathan Isaac has been known to be one of the premier defenders in the league. And, obviously, if it wasn't for the vaccine status, I think we would have been able to see that this year. On the offensive end, I think it is relevant in the sense that he's 6'11". So, over the average player like Rudy Gay, he can shoot over the defense. And a lot of the time, the guy with the length just has more real estate to create shots from wherever the floor.
All right. I think you both brought up very valid arguments. I will say, though, gotta give this one to Christian. I think bringing up, I think Ruben, Loki, I think you lost it as soon as he was like, it's hard to debate against his bag. So I will say though, I
No,
think
that is a difficult one because if you
yeah,
look at Rudy's career trajectory,
Rudy's got a
like
bag, man.
Rudy was one of the best wing players in the league at one point,
Yeah,
right? We
definitely.
don't we forget
Oh
that.
yeah,
So
no
yeah,
torn ACL. I think he definitely has
oh
a few
yeah,
All Stars.
In 2K2, man, his jump shot.
Bro,
Jeez.
I
his
know
jumper
everyone's
in
using that in their
2K
play, right,
so
bro?
moist. You always use that for your my career. But all right, Christian,
Yeah.
would you like to switch or do you want to keep with Rudy Gay?
That's tough because okay, wait. So if I were to switch, what could I potentially get?
Okay, I'll give you the options here. So you have Bogdan Bogdanovic, so the Hawks guard, or another Hawks player, DeAndre Hunter.
They-
Okay, I'm gonna stay with.
Okay, okay. I think just for the sake of fairness, I'll roll. So for one, I mean y'all can't see it, but I mean I ain't gonna fucking cheat. One is Bogdan, two is DeAndre Hunter. Oh, thank God. Okay. All right, and then same thing. One is Christian, two is me. Okay. All right, falls on to me. Let me set my minute here. Let me bring up DeAndre Hunter's basketball reference real quick. All right, I'm going to start in 3, 2, 1, boom. All right, so DeAndre Hunter is undoubtedly one of the premier defenders on a Hawks team that's pretty shitty on defense. But when DeAndre Hunter's on that floor, he's a clamper. This is a guy that they chose over another very heavily defensive game-minded player in Cam Reddish. But with DeAndre Hunter, everybody was saying that wasn't a Bucks fan. Man, if DeAndre Hunter was there, it'd be a whole different series. And I digress. He definitely would have made an impact. But I think considering that they're both 6'8", you know, he's got the youth on his side. He go bang on Rudy Gay's old-ass knees, considering that he got ACL surgery. And I just think DeAndre Hunter is a guy that is put in a lot of positions where he has to play that because he plays it with a Trae Young. And we've seen with a lot of players where if they're given that open chance, they can do a lot more. And I think DeAndre Hunter is an example of that. He's a guy that has shot the ball pretty solid, 38% this year. And he's a guy that, you know, going to develop. But all right, Christian for Rudy Gay again. In 3, 2, 1, go.
All right, so I think the kind of topic of defense is intriguing to me when you look at Rudy Gay. So this is something I didn't know about him, but he's had close to 13 seasons where he's averaged at least a steal, with his top 5 seasons almost averaging 2 steals. So I think that in its own kind of speaks to how versatile of a player he is in his prime. He's also
Oh shit, yo, Christian, you lagging. Hold up. Right, Ruben, is he lagging for you too? All right, I'll let you restart once you get back.
6+
Oh shit. This goes out crazy on the audio one, yo.
where he's average a block. So really, we've already,
Oh shit. Damn, this shit went kaput. Oh, you back?
I was in my bag. Yo, what happened?
Yo, I heard you first. I was like, okay.
All we heard is
2 steals. All right. Can you remake that magic?
Hey,
Pause.
all right, you know I'm not gonna say anything. Keep going.
Christian, ready? Ready for your minute? You ready?
Yeah.
Okay, 3, 2, 1, go.
All right. So as I was mentioning before, I think it's interesting to talk about defense because it's something I didn't mention with Rudy, but he's had close to 13 seasons where he's averaged almost a steal a game with his with his top 6 seasons, which are almost averaging 2 steals per game. He's had 6+ seasons where he's averaged a block per game. So really, at the end of the day, he is like a plus end player on both sides of the floor. We've already talked about his offensive bag, but I think it's really good to mention that he is a defensive minded player. With a 6'8" frame of 250 pounds, I think he's kind of is like the perfect 1v1 player in most aspects. He's had I can't even count it here, but he's had pretty much a perfect, not perfect career, but he's been playing at an offensive level, elite offensive level forever. All things considered, so I just don't think he can be beaten, at least by DeAndre Hunter.
Okay. All right. Oh wait. Already. So, my rebuttal in three, two, one, bang. So, we're talking about defense. DeAndre Hunter, even though he's 6'8", might give up a little pounds here and there on Rudy Gay. He has a 7'2" wingspan. And for a lot of defensive players, having that, or a lot of guys who are not 7-footers, having that 7-foot wingspan is a godsend on the defensive end. Again, I think DeAndre Hunter is a guy who hasn't been able to flourish on the defensive end based on the fact that he plays on one of the worst defensive teams. But, oh shit, that came over me quick. Damn.
Good guy.
Fuck. Damn. Okay. All right. I'll take my L. Or you never know. Oh fuck. All right, Christian. 3, 2, 1.
All right. At the end of the day, they have very comparable frames, 6'8". Maybe Rudy Gay has slightly shorter wingspan, but at the end of the day, he's had 3 seasons in the top 20 for steals. He's had 5 seasons where he's top 20 in points per game. In terms of active players, he's 13th in most points. He is just far ahead of DeAndre Hunter in his career currently. That's all I got to say.
Hi, Ruben.
Give me my W.
Yeah, sorry, DJ. That's I'm giving it a chin.
Yeah,
even if you look at the name of the players we listed, if we're going based off right now, I might give DeAndre Hunter the edge. But if we're talking about like their primes, Rudy Gay was literally an all-star caliber player. And he was one of the best wing defenders in the league for a really long time, and one of the most elite offensive players at the time. Dude, the Memphis Grizzlies in the Grindhouse with Rudy Gay, Marc Gasol, and Zach Randolph.
Love that team.
That team was
team.
fire, and Rudy Gay was a big part of what they did. And obviously, we had some nice moments with him in Toronto for a year and a half before he got traded for Grievous Vasquez that led to our awesome 2014 run. But you know what? Yeah, man. Rudy Gay. I'm sorry, you gotta go to chin, man. They made some good arguments.
Sorry, guys. I mean, I just got the luck of the draw today.
You argued for him very well, though. You argued for him well.
Yeah, no. It wasn't like half-assed, I feel. It was all very like Rudy Gay, that dude. And I love Rudy Gay.
Rudy Gay is that dude. He's been that dude.
He's that dude.
Certified hooper. Christian, pick a number 1 to 4.
4.
Oh.
It's LeBron.
No. It's a guy I think Ruben loves as much as LeBron, Fred VanVleet.
Oh, shit.
All right, Ruben, 1 to 3.
3.
Ooh, this gonna be nice. You have a Pelicans guard, straight out of Lehigh, CJ McCollum.
Ooh.
Oh, man. This is a matchup.
This is a good matchup. Okay, so we'll go 1 is Christian, 2 is Ruben. Yeah.
Yep.
All right, Christian, your minute. Let me set this up. Your minute for Fred VanVleet, Freddie All-Star, in 3, 2, 1, go.
All right. So this is an interesting matchup just because Fred VanVleet obviously is the shorter man in this matchup. I do think, however, he is the more versatile player. CJ McCollum has always shown to be quite a hole on defense. And that's the reason he's never been a number 1 option. Fred VanVleet obviously has pretty much skyrocketed in his career and is now like a prime defender. He can make plays. And I mean, obviously this is a 1-on-1, but it just kind of shows the versatility of him as a player. He's obviously been playing at insane levels for the Toronto Raptors, and there's a reason he's been given the keys. On the season, he's averaging 21.4 with a field goal percentage of 41.5, which, I mean, doesn't play a huge factor into this. He is a good true shooter at the end of the day. I just think he is the more complete player in most aspects, and I think for that reason, even with height, he could definitely take on CJ McCollum.
Dang, minute on the dot. All right, Ruben. In 3, 2, 1, go.
So I like Fred Van Vliet. Everyone knows I love Fred Van Vliet. He's as complete a player as there is in terms of both ends of the floor. But the dude's 5'11". The dude's 5'11". I mean, you're talking about a guy who's been known to be. I mean, he was drafted or undrafted purely because of the fact that he's a small dude. So if we're gonna take it to the blacktop and you're gonna go on a one-on-one scenario here, CJ McCollum is 6'3", and has been known to be one of the best offensive guards in the league. While he is a hole on the defensive end, in a one-on-one situation, Fred Van Vliet is also notoriously known for not having that great of an offensive bag. Most of his offense is generated off catch and shoots, pull-ups from three, and he's not much of his own shot creator, while CJ McCollum is. So, in a one-on-one situation, CJ McCollum is the best bucket getter there could be in this matchup.
Bomb. Okay, Christian, your rebuttal in three, two, one, go.
All right. So he is actually 6'1", so I just had to clarify that. Um, I mean, maybe that's BS, but Basketball Reference says so. So for the sake of this argument, 2 inches is not a lot. Let's just be honest there. Um, I also think at the end of the day, we haven't seen the end of Fred Van Vliet. He's only played 6 seasons, and his ceiling has yet to be seen. Whereas CJ McCollum, at the end of the day, like is not at the tier of defense, and clearly they're. I think they're the same offense. Fuck, 30 seconds sucks, man.
Yeah, we might tweak it, but I think it's nice. Like, I don't want to do another minute, but
Yeah, you gotta spit. You gotta spit.
yeah, you just get all your shit out. All right, Ruben, your rebuttal. Three, two, one, go.
Okay, so CJ McCollum is 39% from three. He's shooting 45% from the field. And in 7 games so far with the Pelicans, as the lead guard, he's averaging 28 points a game. I mean, the dude is a bag. And alongside Damian Lillard, it's obviously going to be hard for him to dominate the basketball like he wants to, being overshadowed by Dame Lillard. But CJ McCollum is literally known as one of the best bucket getters in the game, and if he has possession, it's game.
Okay. I'm not gonna lie, Christian. He's 6'1" in shoes, so I think without the shoes, I think Fred is 5'11" probably. Right? Is that what you're talking about, Ruben?
Yo, okay. I was there in training camp, and I stood beside Fred. The dude is barely taller than me.
Oh yeah, you're not 6'1".
Fred's barely taller than me. He's taller than me, but he's barely taller than me.
All right.
I'm just gonna put that out there. My argument's done. I'm just saying. I've had first-hand experience with Fred.
It's one in the shoes. That's all that matters, bro.
6'1" in the shoes. uh, all right, I gotta give that one to Ruben. I think even though Fred Van Vliet's definitely got a developing bag,
That was hard, bro.
CJ McCollum has a pretty deep bag.
He
All
does.
right, Ruben, would you like to switch? Your options are either Terry Rozier or Seth Curry. Are you going to stick with CJ McCollum?
Yeah, I'm gonna stick with CJ. Terry's a nice one, but I'll stick with.
Okay.
With,
All
with
right,
CJ.
let's see here. So 1 is Terry, 2 is the best Curry. Did that do it? Okay. All right. Seth Curry. Alrighty. Okay, 1 will be Ruben, 2 will be me. Alrighty, Ruben, you're first. Your minute again.
Who do you have again?
I have Seth Curry, the best Curry.
Ah,
All right, Ruben. In 3, 2, 1, go.
okay, let's get into our box here, into our white box. Let's imagine, let's all close our eyes. Let's put Seth Curry and CJ McCollum in a one-on-one situation. I'll give you guys 10 seconds to think about that for a second. Yeah, so CJ McCollum is a bucket getter. Obviously, if he wasn't overshadowed by Damian Lillard, I think he would have a much bigger and better career. and you're seeing him thrive a little bit as the lead guard in New Orleans, as I've said in the previous argument. I mean, the guy can score from anywhere. Seth Curry is a negative defensively. I mean, for me to describe the visual game that CJ has. His ability to create off the dribble from anywhere on the floor. I mean, he's got one of the most beautiful and underrated bags. I think it's right up there with the likes of a Kyrie Irving.
Hot take at the end there, to be
Damn,
honest with you.
that was a very hot take. But all right. Arguing for Seth Curry in 3, 2, 1. Bang. Seth Curry, pound for pound, is the greatest shooter to ever live. He's got a better three-point percentage than Steph. And this is a dude who made it out the G League. This is a dude who's been grinding. This is a dude who's a dog. He represents everything you want in a Blacktop player. Can shoot the ball? Hell yeah. Is a dog? Hell yeah. Now, when it comes to defense, I'm not going to lie. I'll give you that. But if Seth has ball, all he needs is 2 threes. And then if anything, CJ bites on that pump fake and he drives it right to the hoop. Now, Seth Curry is a guy who started out his career, on a bit of a slow turn, but he's developed into one of the premier guards when it comes to shooting. And I think him coming from that bloodline, you can't really bet against that bloodline when it comes to shooting the ball. Even they're saying, what's her name? Aisha Curry got a bag when it comes to shooting. Seth Curry, in my opinion, better shooter than Steph when it comes to percentages. Okay, Ruben. 30 seconds, Ray. Ruben. 3, 2, 1. Okay.
All right, let's put 10 seconds again on the clock here. Yeah, let's give CJ the ball in a one-on-one situation with Seth Curry guarding him. Let's imagine that for a sec. Yeah, it's pretty much game over. I mean, you're talking about CJ McCollum versus Seth Curry here. I mean, CJ has the career trajectory, the stats. He's got everything to back it up, and the accomplishments to go all over Seth Curry.
Man, fuck this shit, yo. You alpha. You alpha the fucking shit out of me, bro. Oh, fuck this shit,
It's
yo.
the luck of the draw. Like Chin said, it's the luck of the draw.
True, bro. I ain't even gonna fucking do my rebuttal, bro. The first time you did that, yo, the first round, I was like, this shit's fucking over. That was
I doubled down on it again. Right?
That was a fucking alpha, yo. That's a talk. That's like, I'm clipping that shit later, yo. I mean,
and we just sat here like.
I mean, yeah, like DJ.
Ain't no fucking debate, yo.
DJ brought the argument better than Ruben. I'm not gonna lie, but Ruben with the cinematic effects, I think won it for him.
That was the most fucking Chad thing I've ever seen when it comes to like discussing basketball.
That's a Sigma male move right there.
For real, bro. Alright, that being said, Ruben, 1 to 4.
3.
3. Ooh. You got a nice little European player, Nemanja Bjelica. Christian.
Who?
Nemanja Bjelica.
Give me number 1.
Number 1. Oh, you got a solid player, Torrey Craig.
Bro, what the fuck?
But let's see here. All right, I'll give you all a second to bring up their pages and shit.
I don't need no damn page for Nemanja Bjelica.
Christian
As I
definitely gonna
type
need one
away.
for Torrey Craig.
Oh. Hilarious.
All right, let's see here. 1 for Christian, 2 for Ruben. All right, here, Ruben. Your minute starts in 3, 2, 1, go.
Nemanja Bjelica well known as the marksman from Sacramento who moved to Golden State with a nice little role out there. He's a big man, a stretch four, but can actually, as we've seen with Golden State thus far, when he gets the time, to be able to play make, take defenders off of the dribble at his size is quite surprising. And he's a career 38% 3 point shooter. And he's got the size over a guy like Torrey Craig. So ultimately, in my opinion, when you take it to the blacktop in a one-on-one situation, size does matter because in a one-on-one situation, the amount of ground that you can cover on the defensive end makes up for your inability to really stay in front, especially in the team defensive setting. On the offensive end, the guy can shoot over the defender. The guy can back down. He can also create for himself off the dribble. He's got a really versatile game, at least in comparison to Torrey Craig. Shaplam.
Christian for Bucks legend, NBA champion, Torrey Craig. In 3, 2, 1, go.
All right. So obviously, Torrey Craig is one of the most mundane guys in the NBA. Let's just get that straight. I'm gonna be honest. But I do think in a blacktop setting, considering he's actually 6'7" and it's not really far off from a big man, I think in a blacktop perspective, I think he is definitely the more shiftier player in this kind of scenario. He does have a 2 point percentage rating, I guess, in his best season of 60%. So, the time he is on the floor, he is very efficient. And that is from like the mid range where, most of the blacktop is played. That being said, he's also like a per 36 in terms of defense. He is a positive player, averaging both pretty much a steal and a half and a block and a half. So I do think like as much as Bielitsa has the size on him, he definitely doesn't have anything else on him in terms of statistics. And I think, uh, if I were to choose a person to play as, I would choose Torrey Craig.
Okay, okay. Oh, shoot. All right, Ruben. 30 seconds. 3, 2, 1, go.
Yeah, so offensively, Nemanja Bjelica's best season in Sacramento was actually the 2020 season. He averaged 11 points per game with 48% from the field and 41% from the 3 point line. So offensively, I think it's pretty much a wash at that point. Defensively, sure, he might give up a little bit of ground, but Torrey Craig's also not known for his offense. He's known as a hustle player, a 3-and-D guy, and even though he's a 3 point shooter, you start with possession and with a defender in your face.
All righty. Christian. Rebuttal. 3, 2, 1, go.
Yeah, I mean, good argument, honestly. Like, I'm not going to disagree. I just think the biggest thing for me is that Torrey Craig, like, his per 36 numbers are very solid. Like, I pulled his per 36 numbers, obviously, as a hypotheticals, because, this guy puts up 12.3 points per game, like, as a bottom feeder on any team, basically. I just think, like, you kind of see him at kind of a five player level, but fuck. I just you know what I'm saying. Fuck man.
All right. I will say this. The one thing about the blacktop is it don't matter who's actually better. It's about proving that. It's about saying your piece. And I think Christian, I love you and all, but all of your first statements were, you're right. But then, yeah. So, granted, you know, I kind of fucked you with the Torrey Craig thing. I was low key hoping none of y'all would pick one, but c'est la vie. But Ruben, yeah, I gotta give it to you, buddy.
All right, thank you. Thank you very much.
But I will say the one thing I was hoping you'd say is like the fact that I actually know you did mention it. Actually, no, maybe Ruben did. I don't know, but he a grinder, he a hustler. All right, Ruben, if you would like to switch, your choices are Lauri Markkanen and Harrison Barnes.
Give me Barnes.
Okay, I will take Lauri then. Okay. What the fuck? Okay. Doo-doo-doo. Alrighty. RNG. We'll do 1 for me, 2 for Ruben. Alright, stayed at 2. Okay, Ruben. Your minute for the Black Falcon. In 3, 2, 1, go.
Harrison Barnes, what else can we say about the NBA champion, known as a two-way player, can shoot the ball, can post up, create on the floor, anywhere on the floor, can defend multiple positions. 6'7", he's also a big body with some good weight on him. He's obviously well known around the league as a guy who's a two-way player. And against a guy like Lauri Markkanen, who is very limited bag-wise, he can shoot the ball, sure, doesn't have much of a post-up game, and is a negative defender. So in this case, Harrison Barnes is already the positive player in a one-on-one situation and on a team situation. And if you were to ask any random person on the street, any random casual player, casual fan, diehard fan, you ask them, okay, who would you like on your team, Lauri Markkanen or Harrison Barnes? I think the Cleveland Cavaliers would even take Harrison Barnes at this current moment. So, I mean, in a one-on-one situation, I like Harrison Barnes because he's just better all around on both ends.
Okay. Alrighty. I will go in 3, 2, 1, go. Alright, so everything set aside. Lauri Markkanen being 7-footer already kind of negates the fact that Harrison Barnes will be able to drive to the hoop. Granted, Harrison Barnes ain't no slouch on the offensive end, but I think with Lauri Markkanen, he's definitely I think a little faster on the feet since they've shifted over to the small forward here and there. But this is a dude who was very underutilized in Chicago, was not played in the proper role, but starting to build a little bit of a home for himself in Cleveland. Definitely one of the bright young players on that team. This is a dude who has the ability to shoot 40% from the three-point line. I think the fact that he's 7 feet, ain't no way that Harrison Barnes is going to be able to contest that effectively. If Lauri Markkanen has ball, he could just chuck that shit. And even the fact that he doesn't have a solid post game, the fact that he is a 7-footer gives him a bit of an advantage in my opinion. As much as Harrison Barnes is the Black Falcon, Lauri Markkanen is the Finnish marksman, and they shoot falcons. Okay.
This dude brought out the metaphors in the last 3 seconds, yo.
All right, Ruben, in 3, 2, 1, go.
Yeah, the foot speed thing is not legit because Harrison Barnes was a 2014 slam dunk contest participant. You're talking about a guy with much better athleticism there. Lauri Markkanen made that move to the small forward position purely because they're trying to play a very big style, which works in a team setting when you have really good defenders on the back end to save your ass on the defensive end. I think Harrison Barnes also has shown his ability to defend multiple positions. And again, in a one-on-one situation, to give Lauri Markkanen the ball, I think he's going to have a tough time offensively and defensively.
Alrighty. 3, 2, 1, bang. Now, as great as Harrison Barnes is on that end, Lauri Markkanen is 7 feet. Harrison Barnes ain't no fucking Vince Carter jumping over no Frederick Weiss. If Lauri Markkanen is in the paint, Harrison Barnes ain't jumping, in my opinion. Now with Lauri Markkanen, again, he's 7 feet. Much like how people are saying KD could never be contested, Lauri Markkanen being a legit 7 feet, I don't know about Harrison Barnes being able to get a solid contest. When he lifts the ball, it's probably at about 8 feet. Lauri Markkanen, the finisher.
Damn. I mean, in my opinion, I'll give the slight edge to Ruben this time, but I'm not gonna lie. DJ's argument for Lauri Markkanen was good. I just think, obviously, I think DJ, the kind of comment you made about me earlier, kind of pointing out Lauri's negatives, about how he's not a post player as a 7-footer, and how he isn't necessarily. And I mean, the take about him being as speedy as Harrison Barnes, in terms of foot speed, is a bit of a hot take. Maybe
that was not it.
That one's a lava take, bro.
burn your asshole type of take. I don't know about that one, but yeah, I mean, it was a good argument though.
Alrighty. I think we'll skip on the team one though for this time. Maybe we'll figure that out next time. But with that being said, let me stop this here. That has been another episode of the Blacktop podcast. You know, I've never won any of the Blacktop showdowns, but it's coming soon. But regardless, from the boys and I, we appreciate you tuning in to all our current, future, hopefully never any past. But if you're listening here, we appreciate you making it this far. You know, drop a like, subscribe, follow the podcast, all that stuff. And yeah, boys, you got anything to add?
For me, just thanks for another great show, fellas, and thanks for tuning in and our new listeners and people who stick by us. And even though it's a slow grind to get some of y'all on listening to us, we appreciate you guys, no matter who is here listening in. Follow me on all socials, Ruben JRD. You know what it is. Chin, what's up with you?
Yeah, I mean, it's dope to just kind of be having these kind of moments right now with the homies and to kind of share them with the people out there that are there. I mean, for whoever's listening, please share the podcast. I mean, we're kind of like we're thugging it out right now, but we're definitely getting somewhere. And you know, you don't want your homies to miss out when we blow up. So
No doubt, no doubt. So, with that being said, stay safe. We will see y'all soon. Have a good one.
Peace.